If you don't believe what I'm about to say, do a PubMed search, or you can corner a doctor at a cocktail party. But what I'm saying here is real science. It's not bro science. There's been like EMG experiments by Brett Contreras, has done some good work, and he's actually a guy that knows bodybuilding. It's actually, done the movements correctly. And there's been other stories too. So when you actually, if you think, you talk to like functional trainers, and there's been a lot of good of functional training type of stuff where people are using more barbells instead of just weird exercises you saw in the 90s. So there has been some good there. But one of the predominant beliefs there is if you execute an exercise with a good technique, you get the same benefit as if you execute the exercise with good technique, but you actually focus on the muscle you are working. And that is not true. If you actually intentionally focus on the muscle you are trying to work, or I hate the word try, the muscle you are attempting to work, you will get more out of it. It's proven. So when you're trying to really isolate a muscle and hit it hard and target that muscle with, like with a single joint type of exercise is a huge thing. So you're gonna have to use a little discernment here. If you're gonna max out in the squat, you're not gonna focus on the mind-muscle connection. Even like real heavy compound movements like a bench press. So if if you're bench pressing 200 pounds, focusing on the mind-muscle connection, you're still not going to get as good of a chest workout as if you're focusing on 405, moving from point A to point B. But you're doing things like flies and things like that, you need to intentionally focus on the muscle you're going to work, and you will get more out of it. First step in to establish a mind-muscle connection is train your muscles, not your ego. We've talked a lot about intentionality. In fact, done an article on the importance of intentionality while you're training. Why are you training? Are you training to push numbers? That's fine, that's great. If you're a powerlifter, the big three, you better be not focusing on mind-muscle connection. You want to move it with you want to focus on moving the barbell from point A to point B with perfect technique and as forcefully as possible in the big three. Not the case when you're trying to specifically focus on the muscle. So you want to actually, why are you doing this? Well, the reason you're doing it is to train that individual muscle. So going in with that intentionality ahead of time, you're already ahead of the game. Play mental movies. Focus on the muscle you're trying to contract. If you're having problems with flies, watch a mental movie of your chest working. Arnold said it best, where the mind goes, the body follows, okay? So Muhammad Ali, he made mental movies before every single fight he had. He would see the referee hold his arm in the air. Billy Graham, the late preacher, preached many sermons to stumps and Florida swamps before he ever took up the pulpit. Conrad Hilton envisioned himself as a hotel owner before he ever bought a damn hotel. So there's a lot to. Napoleon went out and just pictured himself on the battlefield playing mental movies. The same works with bodybuilding and hypertrophy. When you want to make a muscle work, see it working, and the body will follow what the mind tells it. Next step in developing the mind-muscle connection is initiate the contraction with the muscle you are targeting. So if you're doing dumbbell flies, you don't think about just hoisting the dumbbells. You think about initiating that movement with your pecs. So if you're doing a dumbbell pause floor tricep extension, you don't think about just throwing it off the ground. You think about contraction, then movement if you have to. So that's what you do right there, is you initiate that contraction with the muscle you are targeting, because it's going to, best case scenario, you're playing catch up to get it working suboptimally, and there's a good chance you won't ever catch up and hit that targeted muscle. One of the best ways to initiate the mind-muscle connection is to make sure you initiate the movement you're executing with the muscle you're targeting, because if you're doing a tricep extension and just worried about point A to point B and kind of jerking the weight up, you're going to be playing catch up at best case scenario. So you need to actually initiate the muscle you're targeting. So if you start it off right, you're going to keep it going right. So initiate the contraction with the muscle you're targeting. You need to accentuate the negative. So you can think about it, you can lower a lot more weight than you lift back up. So what a great way to focus on the mind-muscle contraction. One of the reasons bodybuilders are so far ahead of the game with mind-muscle connection, and especially bodybuilders that actually compete, is because they practice posing. So when you're able to contract muscles individually, and you have to practice that, sometimes 20, 30, 40 minutes a day, whatever you're going to do, you're going to get better at that mind-muscle connection just by practice. So you could just take up bodybuilding posing. That's a great way to do it. If you can hit a lat spread, the odds that you're going to feel your biceps taking over when you're doing lat pull downs are relatively low to somebody that can't do it. So you can practice actually posing, and then if you don't want to actually get in, bust up the trunks and start posing, what you can also do is just isometrically contract that muscle as hard as possible. So I'm going to do a fly, get here, boom, hit my chest as hard as I can for 6 seconds prior to that, and then do the fly. And the odds of you feeling the mind-muscle connection are a lot stronger then. There's plenty other ways to feel the mind-muscle connection, but these 5 are a great starting point that will help you feel your mind-muscle connection.